I guess we are going live. Hello and welcome, everyone. 2 weeks without a live stream, and finally we are back. My name is Konstantin. It's Grace Westminster channel. This is the channel where we discuss everything and anything Nikon. It's all great to see you all. First of all, haven't done it for a couple of weeks, gonna be rusty, but please let me know, how is the audio, how's the video, can you hear me, can you see me? I definitely need an update in the live chat. Hello John, Tom, Simon, Jakob, Nigel, Perry Elison, John Hughes, Colin Murphy, Colin Brahma, Warren Devine, Terence Ali, Simon Hopkinson, George B, Michael Reed, Terence Allen, Jay Blue, Nick Harrison, Dave Thompson, Paul Montgomery, Robert M, Raimo. All good to see you all. David Mascoro, Dave Walker, and Mark. Fantastic. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'm glad that you've remembered, out of 2 weeks of absence, that the live streams are still a thing. It's just when there is no host of the live stream, when he is roasting on the sun, there's no live stream. However, there's a couple of things we are in discussion about, and I'm not gonna tell you what it is. Just like Nikon doesn't share their comments on the future announcement or anything like this, but we are trying to think about what can we do. And how to make the live streams interesting. So maybe something's going to come out of those conversations, maybe not, I don't know, but it's fantastic to see you all. Thank you very much, Jay Blue, who says, happy Friday, Con, enjoy the coffee. Thank you very much, I will. I actually haven't had the coffee yet, so today is a coffee sponsored by Jay Blue. It's a nice black single origin coffee. I think this one is from Kenya, so it's super sweet. Really nice as a kind of a no milk, no sugar coffee to go with. So I thought, well, there's no news really we can discuss today because there's not much things been out. But if you want to discuss something, please ask me the question in live chat. If you are watching us and you haven't joined the live chat yet, then definitely come and join people in the live chat because they are like-minded as you. They want to talk cameras and lenses and photography in general. So you can ask me questions, you can ask them questions. We all work as the group, and there's no live show without your comments in the live chat. And today I want to talk about kind of photographic industry in general, and I want to ask you, where do you buy your camera gear or Nikon camera equipment? Do you buy it online? Do you buy it from a store? Tell me your story. How, let's say, if you're buying it from your dealer, how did you start to buy? Is there any particular story? Do you value your dealer's knowledge in the equipment that you're buying? Do you do your research yourself? All this I want to hear. I want to hear your stories in the chat. Because I want to know what's actually the current trend in terms of buying photographic equipment. So obviously I buy my Nikon gear from Grace of Westminster, just like the name of the channel, and all my Nikon gear pretty much came from there. But I don't buy photographic equipment online unless I know what I want. And I do prefer to buy, if it's not Nikon gear, I will buy it from a photographic dealer. It's not going to be places like Amazon, for sure. I value photographic dealers for a very simple reason is I can talk to them. So that's the thing. And I'm sure you have your list of photographic dealers to go to, especially for specific brands. So let's say my Fuji gear, I think I bought from Clifton Cameras, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, my Nikon gear comes from Grace of Westminster. I'm sure that if you're in the United States, a lot of you probably buy it from B&H and Adorama. But if you got your local camera dealer, I think there's one in LA. What was the name of it? I'm sure that people will remind me, something camera. But tell me all about this. This is the topic of the conversation. But if you have any other photographic questions, any news you want to discuss, definitely pop them in the chat. I'll try to answer your questions as much as I can to the best possible. Okay, so we're gonna start from Tom, who says, felt so bad popping into Grace the other week and not being able to buy anything. Being an NPS member, Nikon professional member in the United States, the inability to get anything serviced is so unfair when traveling abroad. Yeah, unfortunately, this is an interesting one because technically the whole point of warranties is supposed to be international, especially on the lenses. The warranties on the camera is supposed to be regional, back in the day and things like this. And I agree with you. I think that we should come back to this whole international warranty where you will be able to service your favorite brand gear anywhere in the world once you bought it. I think the limitations are put because there's different pricing structures in different regions. Back in the day, it was cheaper to buy, let's say, things from Hong Kong, to import them from Hong Kong, than buy them from the UK, because in UK you have 20% VAT sales tax effectively included in the sale. So while in the United States it's added, so if you import it from Hong Kong, it's generally cheaper because there's no tax being included, things like this. I know that now, let's say, because of the yen to dollar or pound exchange rate, I know that a lot of companies in Japan are selling their products in Japan cheaper than, let's say, anywhere else in the world, but they log their cameras to Japanese language only. And I think there's like Nintendo is doing that as well with their Switch consoles and things like this. So you're not able to choose English language. But that way they kind of combated the sales of the cameras for people who live in Japan, instead of just, let's say, a bunch of us coming there and just taking everything off the shelves and bringing them, reselling them somewhere else. So I guess that's the reason for that, Tom. But I agree with you that we should be able to service our camera that is a global brand everywhere in the world, because it is a global brand. So if you have your Nikon, you should be able to service it in anywhere in the world, of course. So at least in the fairly developed countries, for sure, without any issues of being saying, oh, you can't do it here because you bought it, let's say, in the United States. I agree with you. Simon says, good morning, Con. Hope you had an amazing vacation with family. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yes, enjoyed a bit of sun, a bit of swim, a bit of good food and drink. So yeah, that was good. Simon says, here in Toronto, Canada, I buy my equipment new and used from Vistec and Henry's, two great shops with great service. Thanks for sharing that with us, Simon. So if you in Canada and you were thinking of buying Nikon equipment, those, I guess, are two good places to visit or to call up to and discuss your purchasing needs. Nigel says hello from Bedfordshire, another hot one here. I always have bought my camera bodies and lenses over the counter, so in a shop, being present. I think it's important to support our physical retailers. It's an interesting one. I agree with you in most cases, Nigel. And the thing is as well that we are talking about demise of retail, especially in the United Kingdom. If you are in London, what state, let's say, Oxford Street is, let's say, which is a central shopping street, effectively, where we now have lots of candy shops. A lot of people think it's something to do with tax avoidance and etc. So I don't know, but a lot of big retail places have closed. We're not talking just camera photography, but just in general, big places, department stores like Debenhams and House of Fraser. So think Macy's in a way, if you're in the United States, have closed down. So and I don't know if they just opened IKEA in Oxford Street instead of a Topshop, but I think that the banner was there. I don't know if it's still a thing or not, but so support of your local, I think it's very important, and I agree with you. I think we're starting to see a trend as well of people are trying to use Amazon less, and I know that it's very difficult not to use Amazon because Amazon has everything, and try to go to your local to get some things. But sometimes you need batteries, let's say, and you can't find them anywhere else, and you just have to go there. But it's an interesting trend where people decide to support a little guy. And a lot of people find that by supporting a little guy, you will get a vast knowledge and experience in that specific niche you're in. But sometimes you'll find it's more convenient just to go and with one press of a button buy it somewhere else online from a bigger faceless store in a way. So interesting conversation. Thanks for sharing, Nigel. I definitely appreciate your feedback. Jakob is saying, I live in the area where I don't have any local camera shops. The last one closed a couple of years ago, so I buy gear online and it's mostly used or refurbished by Nikon when they have 10% of sale. So I assume Jakob is buying directly from Nikon store. So there's Nikon store in UK, and I'm sure where you are, so I guess Nikon store Europe or something like this, and he buys directly from them. When you buy online, my question to you is, do you do your own research? Do you rely on reviews? Do you rely on articles on places like, let's say, DP Review and Petapixels, or you go to YouTube? What's your choice? Or do you try to talk to your, let's say, sales assistant in the shop to help you with your decision? So I know that a lot of you are quite experienced and quite knowledgeable in photography. So for a lot of you, probably the answer is going to be, I do my own research. That's what I generally do. But sometimes when I buy something that I have no idea what I'm buying, let's say I'm redoing a bathroom, let's say, yeah. So, and I have no idea what's involved in DIY, so let's say, what do I need to buy and all this? And at that point, a good YouTube video, let's say, from DIY channel, tell me, oh, you need this, you need this, you need that, kind of gives me a good idea or starting points what I should look into and things like this, So, but as we say, we have the topics that we are really experienced in, and we also have the topics we have no idea about, but we have to make a decision on buy certain things there, even if we don't know anything. So, what do you do? Do you go to your local people and talk to them? Do you go online? Do you do your own research? I want to hear your opinion in a live chat here. John Hughes says, hello, Constantine, everyone from bright, sunny and hot North Yorkshire. It's a coffee time. Thank you very much, John. Good to see you all. Thank you, Colin. Appreciate it. So Warren Divine says, welcome back from holiday break. KEH, is that how you call it? KEH in Georgia, and B&H in New York for new and used equipment in the United States. So KEH, as far as I know, is a big secondhand reseller. So obviously, if you've seen any photographic YouTube video, they sponsor quite a lot of things. B&H been a staple of camera photographic retail, I think, for so many years. I remember my first visit to New York back in 2004, where I came there. I bought my F100 from Adorama. So I've been basically popping to both of those shops on a weekly basis and seeing what can I buy. So that was quite interesting. Let's go and see more of your comments. George B says, I'm a big believer in supporting brick and mortar camera retailers. Here in Ottawa, Canada, I purchased my equipment from VSTEC, another VSTEC recommendation, and I find their in-store expertise second to none. Fantastic. So if you're in Canada, you have good choices there. If you're in Canada, do you ever go across the border, buy your equipment there, and then bring it in Canada? Because I think the taxes in Canada are much higher. As far as I know, the equipment is a lot more expensive. Do you do this? Is that a thing? Let me know in the comments. I want to know. I mean, I don't know what it is now, but let's say before the tariffs and all this sourness, because of tariffs and things like this, but was it a thing back in the day to buy things in the United States and just drive back to Canada just to save a little bit? So let me know in the comments below. Terrence Allen says, Grays is the place of my choosing for my camera gear. Only 15 minutes to get there using your local trains. I sometimes use Wax, who are also fairly local to me. Great recommendations. Terrence, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Yeah, I've bought from Clifton's, from Wax. I think I bought something from Park. That was a thing as well. Not very often. I think I tried most of them, even Aperture Photographic. Haven't tried Mr. Card. Bought a reflector. He ripped me off on a reflector, but it's fine. I need a reflector now, so he sold me a reflector for 20 quid. Second-hand one. It was brand new, about £8, but it's all right. No hard feelings there. I need it. I pay cash. It's done. All right. Let's see. Paul Montgomery says, good afternoon. So to all, it's going to be a very short live stream. Grace is the answer. Thank you very much, Paul. We appreciate it. Our team obviously is working hard. We are specializing on one brand, which helps us, I guess, to understand the brand quite well. We've been doing those live streams for so many years now as well. Always trying to find a topic to discuss with you related to Nikon. Speaking of Nikon things, I just thought every week I try to show you some interesting things I found. So we've got a couple of F6s secondhand. So this one is unlisted, just came in. So we're going to test it later on. And then this thing came in while I was away, and it's a Zenz Bronica. And for some of you who watched our live streams of Nikon for third-party brands, this Zenz Bronica has a Nikkor PC 75mm f2.8 lens, and it's a 6x6 camera. So just a couple of things. This is going to be probably my weekend project. I'm going to stick some nice medium format film into it. I'm going to do some tests, check if the light seals are okay, and there's no light leaks in there. Let's happy Friday all. Let's look at more of your comments here. So video emoji is 5 out of 5. Thanks, Simon. Appreciate it. So Paul P says, I find park at Burgess Hill easier to get to, easier parking. No need to use public transport. Online I use MPB in Brighton. Okay, interesting recommendations there. Wow. I still have to catch up with a lot of your comments, but I'm gonna just read them through all because. All right, so Simon Hobson says, I buy high-value items from MPB mostly for lenses, constantly scour Facebook Marketplace and Gumtree. Interesting, okay. How do you find it when you're buying it from someone privately? What is the kind of good rate? Like how much can you buy it which is in good condition? Let me know in the comments. Ron Durant Photography says, I get my camera online from reputable mom and pop camera store in Kentucky called Murphy's Camera. Good recommendation. If you're in Kentucky, you've got a place to go to. Dave Walker says, since I went Z system, it has been you guys at Grace or Camera World through most miss their store where I live in Chelmsford closed. I think Camera World has quite a few stores, isn't it? Yeah. Through greed of landlords, not their choice. Well, that's the thing when we talk about demise of retail and things like this. I can tell you from personal experience, where looking for a place for my business that I'm working on, that the rent is extremely high and rent is going up every year, and it's much harder for the places to stay and help your local community, because people don't think about community overall. But as you say, if you don't have a camera store to go to and the next one maybe is 2-3 hours away, then you are forced to shop online, or at least as we say, where our phone lines are open. So if you need to speak to someone about choice of unique equipment, then we have people in a store that will be able to answer your question over the phone, and we ship as well, and it's always next day delivery. David the Drunk Wedding Photographer recommends Sammy's camera. That's if you're in LA, Sammy's camera. Quite a few recommendations. I remember when I was there, I never made it that far. I know they're a bit not very central, but definitely a good place from what I heard. Len Oshman says there are no dealers nearby anymore. I buy from Adorama and B&H. John says, I used to buy from our local shows, but they have now all closed down, and I get all my Nikon from Grace. Marvel says, when I decided to get a Z9, they were still out of stock at B&H and Adorama. I discovered one of the Roberts camera in Indianapolis and have been buying from them ever since. That's an interesting story. So, and do you normally, if you buy your equipment from, let's say, the one dealer and you like them and, so you like the gear, do you come back to them? Or do you look at the price when you buy an equipment? Is the price a significant factor? I mean, to be honest with you, if you look at the UK prices, you will see that a lot of dealers are more or less the same. Because everyone nowadays has online, and in terms of this, everyone can check each other prices. So there's not a significant difference. You're not going to pay, let's say, 100, 200 pounds extra in most cases. And a lot of dealers, even like ourselves, we generally, if it's a reputable UK dealer and they're cheaper, we will try to match the price. We don't obviously match prices from, let's say, grey importers, where equipment doesn't come from Nikon UK, but it comes from somewhere else. Is the price deciding factor, or at this point is your relationship with the dealer which is deciding factor? I assume it's both. So obviously, you're not going to buy equipment from someone who is overpriced, but they're good. So I guess it goes both ways, in my opinion. And generally, let's say, if the price is something like 10, 20 pounds difference, I'd rather buy from a dealer I know, personally. But obviously, if it's like 200-300 pounds, then of course I'll have to think about that, or I'll speak to them and I'll mention to them, and it's generally a normal conversation. All right. Daywalk says, need High Street back the way they were. Yeah, well, that's the thing. The rent is killing it. That's what I've kind of, from what I understand. You look at, let's say, okay, Central London, we now have candy stores everywhere, right? But let's say Croydon High Street, so many closed down places. And you would think, well, why would, let's say, landlord lower the prices to get new businesses to start, and they can start and then they can raise the price, the rent in the future and things like this. No one wants to do this. They'd rather be closed than actually lowering their rental prices. And it's kind of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because that doesn't allow the new businesses to start and, let's say, maybe create value to the community, while being profitable and being sustainably run companies, So, yeah, I mean, it's not just landlords, let's not blame everyone, but I think there's a lot that goes into that. And unfortunately, economy being in slump doesn't help it as well. But it's an interesting conversation to have, absolutely. So again, I'm an online shop MPB customer because there are no camera shops near me in Dumfries. I buy from all the alphabet soup retailers, MPB, K&H, B&H, H&M, you name it. Okay, I did buy a lens from Jessop's once. Won't do that again, says Simon Hopkins. And to be honest with you, I don't really know who owns Jessop's at this stage, because they've been out of business so many times and they've been taken over so many times that, yeah, I don't really know at this point. But I think last time I've been there was way, a long time ago. I think they used to have this shop in Tottenham Court Road opposite another place that shut down. Just next to this, what's called Point One building or something like this. It's the tallest one next to the station. So, yeah, Jacobs. Yeah, that one that I really liked. And I know the manager of Tottenham Court Road shop, Donald, he's now works at Fixation as far as I know. So, but that's the problem, isn't it? We always say we want to support small guy and things like this, but the shops are closing down. So what do we do? How do we recover this? How do we bring people to the shops as well? That's an interesting conversation to have as well. Joan Bennett says, all my new cameras have been from a local dealer in my nearest city in Lancashire. Got one secondhand from Grays, another secondhand from London Camera Exchange. All new lenses from local dealer, secondhand from Park Cameras. Thank you for your recommendations, Joan. Appreciate it. All the higher angler says, my original Z50 was purchased from Adorama through Amazon. I have bought a couple of Z mount lenses directly from Amazon. So Adorama sells through Amazon as well, which is interesting. So it shows that retailers are using third-party platforms like Amazon or eBay to sell their goods. They do take a hit. Obviously, by doing that, they are reducing their margin, but they have access to more customers, I guess. So it's again a balance that they decide if it's worth doing it for them or not. David Moscora recommends eBay Japan, B&H, K&H, and local camera mostly for great quality old film Nikon cameras. So David, what are the places to visit, camera shops in San Francisco that you would recommend? That would be interesting to hear. I forgot the name of the shop that we went to where I bought some portrait. That was quite a nice place, quite an interesting place. I enjoyed it. So yeah, there's a Roberts camera in Indianapolis being recommended. So that's good. Daywalk says next purchase will be with Grace. It's Z85 1.4 appears, and we'll trade in 85 1.8G, and also bought from Grace. Dave, when do you think 85 1.4 is going to appear? Do you think it's going to be this year, or do you think we will see it next year or never? Obviously, you are set on it. So when do you think Nikon will announce it? I want to hear from you. It's an interesting one. So obviously we're going to come at some point. When September comes, we're going to see some announcements, isn't it? So September, October is generally a good place for Nikon announcements. So who knows, maybe it's going to be there. Len Oshman recently bought a lens from Nikon USA directly. I've been using their trade-up process. What I can tell you that obviously the retail, COVID hit retail quite a bit, and obviously a lot of shops closed down at the time, and also what we found as a shop as well, that we didn't see many people right after COVID. So it took several years for us to build up to the level of customers coming through the doors in pre-COVID times. So I think we are back to pre-COVID times in terms of how many people come and visit us on a daily basis, which is a good thing. But it took some time. And for retail places who don't have online presence, that slump in foot traffic through the doors was quite an impact to have, because it directly affects your sales. So we, as a shop, we were kind of luckily transitioned into selling online about a year before COVID hit, and it was obviously it's a good decision regardless of COVID or not, but B, I'm glad that it happened before. So when we were actually, when we were in lockdown, we could still do the sales online. So that's the thing. Russell says, if I lived in the UK, I'd obviously buy from Grace. But Russell, where are you buying from right now? So tell me, give us a recommendation. So people in your area, where can they go to get a good service and buy a nice photography equipment, be it Nikon or any other brand? So recent Z50, or the high angler says, was bought from brick and mortar store about an hour from home. I guess something like Target or something like this. Bought a couple of lenses from them last year as well. Do you see Nikon being sold in Walmarts and Targets of the world in the United States? I don't really know, because it would be based in the UK. So we had Argus, obviously the big place, and John Lewis. John Lewis sells Nikon. Argus used to sell Nikon DSLRs. I'm not sure if Argus still sell those, but I know that cameras like D3000, G5000 used to be sold in Argus, and they were sometimes at good prices. Lewis P says, I'm in Netherlands. I go to Photo Rembrandt. They're great and just celebrated the 100 years of existence. Absolutely amazing. 100 years is nothing to sniff at. So congratulations, Photo Rembrandt. It sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. It's nice to have a brand that survived for so long. Joan doesn't use Amazon and so for anything. Daywalk says, never buy from Amazon if I can get in a shop. That's that's the thing. If you look at it even 2 years ago, it wasn't a thing. It's definitely the senses now from people deliberately trying to uncouple from Amazon is quite strong, which is I personally think is a good thing. We should have a choice. We shouldn't, but yes, the whole point of Amazon is convenience, isn't it? That's the thing. But yeah, the more and more people, that's the thing. Even like, let's say, among my friends and just people I talk to, this is quite a common thing where people say, I am getting off places like Amazon. I'm not going to support any Meta. I'm not going to, things like this. There are a lot of reasons, obviously they're big corporations and politics that come with it, but I think we should be voting with our wallet and absolutely kind of support that. Roland says, not many Jessops left. They're still, I think, around. Some of the shops are still kicking, but yeah, I haven't been in one for more than 5 years. John is buying his camera gear at B&H. Darth Prime says, good morning from Texas. I buy my gear from either private sellers, local camera shops, or online, usually when the gear is on sale after researching. Ron Duran says, I rely on reviews from reputable YT channels to help make decisions. I think, if you go whole YouTube route, definitely I have a certain channels that I watch and certain channels I'm never gonna watch, just as simple as that. So I guess once you kind of know what you want, reviews don't matter, isn't it? But we always try to justify and say, no, we've made it an educated decision on those things. Nick Harrison expensively researched YouTube reviews, talking to Grace, never buy on impulse. Fantastic. This is good, rational way to do things. David, the drunk wedding photographer, says, I buy legacy gear, so I rely on blogs for research. My Nikon L35AW, my underwater point shoot camera, unfortunately, is broken. So it's the last holiday I used this camera, and it's a very interesting thought. It shoots well up to about 24 frames, and then it can't rewind or after. So if I have 36 frame roll in there, it's after 24, it starts to make this weird noise. And I keep shooting and nothing happened in there. So I developed my rolls recently to see, and you can see after about 24 shot, just everything else is just multi-exposure. So very interesting thing. Don't know how to fix L35AW, but I like this camera because I could swim with it in the ocean, whatever, anywhere. I can take it into the desert with me, and a fantastic camera. But unfortunately, I need to figure out how to fix it now. So or use 24 frame rolls in it specifically. So that's the thing. But that's the problem with legacy equipment, especially point and shoot. I think that's when mechanical cameras are better, but I wouldn't risk my FM3 on the beach. Don't want that salty water, so that's the thing. If it's just a walk on the beach is one thing, but when you go swimming and things like this, or you go on the boat, and things like this, I don't want to risk my good Nikon FM, let's say, camera. That's the thing. Maybe I should get like a F80 or F70 just for that type of holiday, and then if it breaks, it breaks. That's the thing. But yes, my 35mm L35AW, unfortunately, either has to go for repair or I have to find a replacement for it. A nice underwater camera. If any recommendations, something you can use on a surface and on the water, film camera, I would, any recommendations, I would definitely take them. I look at Nikonos because you can use some lenses underwater and, on the surface. But I don't know, it's too big, I think. And you have to obviously zone focus effectively. So, but, something like point shoot would be nice. Okay. So G Mercedes says, I buy it from Nikon store here in the USA. In fact, they're in my same state, California. I always get super fast shipment with 3 days on new gear. So Nikon store USA. Dave Thompson says, with the exception of buying from Grace always means to buy mail order, I always buy camera gear over the counter from London Camera Exchange in Bath. It is over 1 hour away from where I live, but it's the nearest camera specific shop to me. And Bath is a nice place as well. So that's, I guess it combines a good visit to a beautiful town. So good recommendation. Thank you very much. Any when you buy, let's say, from a shop, from a chain, like London Camera Exchange, for example, do you go to one specific shop, or you know that every shop in that chain should be as good, or you kind of go to this shop because it's run by these people and that's what you appreciate? Let me know in the comments. I want to read all that. Simon Hopkins says, most lenses I buy are to address specific projects or series that I want to shoot. I read a lot of reviews, then begin the process of tracking down the best value copy of the lens I need. Interesting. So you're also looking at the copy, okay, which is interesting thing. Makes sense. I can tell you, I haven't bought many lenses recently, but I went through buying quite a bit of Voigtlander lenses for Leica mounts. And my choice for those cameras were the size and the optical performance. So I didn't want to buy big lenses because if I want a larger camera, I have my FM3A with the nice lenses to go on it. But when I go rangefinders, I want a really compact lens, but obviously that packs a punch in terms of optical performance. So my specific target was there to get 3 focal distances that I use the most, which is 28, 35, and 50. And I know they're all close and they all kind of, technically 35 and 50 are close and 28, 35, yada, yada, yada. But let's say I do streets, I take 28. I go on holiday, I take 35. But I'll say the 21 mil. And all of them are beautifully made, and 21 3.5 Voigtlander is tiny, 28 Ultron is tiny, 35 Ultron is tiny, and the 50, I got 50 f2.2, and it's tiny. Also with a bit of character and good optical performance. So that was my decision on that. Obviously, as well, it wasn't just the size. You do read reviews and things like this, but it was quite interesting to go through that exercise as well. But the thing is, there's so many interesting lenses, especially if you start to look at the vintage lenses and the performance of those lenses and the character of those lenses, that you start to see that, okay, I can't just have only 135, let's say, or 128 mil, let's say. Maybe I need to look into 35 Zeiss Biogon, let's say, or which is quite famous for its overall sharpness and things like this. So like with the vintage glass is a bit more tricky because there's so many choices that will give you different rendering and things like this, that sometimes, you kind of bury yourself in research and then you can't figure out which one you want first. But I guess you got to have them all at some point. All right, I'm just going to have a bit of water. Rolf will visit us in September. We are looking forward to seeing you, Rolf. Come and say hello. J Blue is always doing his own research. He says, but I use staff at Paul's Photo and Service Photo for advice. I also have a friend at Nikon USA who offers trusted advice. I also have Jay Uncle who works at Nikon, who gives me all the rumors. Don't forget that. But yes, it's always nice to have not be alone in your research. I'd say these things. Like I can tell you that, obviously, I live in England for a very long time, but my family is abroad. And there's certain things in life where you go and you have to do them for the first time, like let's say buying a car. And normally, you get your father to go with your brother or your mates, who are already driving and things like this, and they would go and they would buy your first car, they would examine everything and things like this. But I didn't have anyone because I live in London. No one is driving in London because people use public transport. My family can't give me any recommendations because the way it works abroad is different from, let's say, where it works in UK. So like there's a situation in life like this where you have to do it by yourself with no support. So it's always good to have people around to help. That's the thing. So yeah, definitely, if you can get an advice from people, let's say, or you can trust your dealer, that he will give you good advice. I think it's very, very important. I agree with you. Terry Island says, I list a recommendation from my peers followed by actually trying them in the store before purchase. Fantastic advice. Paul P always checks rankings on DxO Mark website. Roland says, Miss Card forever. Mr. Card is still alive and kicking. I pass them every day on the way to the shop because they're near us, on the way to the station. And Alex Falk is still there. You can see them through the window in the shop. So quite, obviously a knowledgeable person and quite character himself. So it's always good to chat with him. Last time I saw him, spoke to him at Photographica in May. That was fun as well. Matt Lee says also direct from L3LT and Permajet to Permajet is printers, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Russell says, I do feel bad that I don't support one or two local shops here in Houston, but I almost exclusively buy used equipment, and they rarely have what I'm looking for or when I need it. Well, yeah, I guess, that those things, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I agree with you. Joanne is doing her own research and then buy local to support my local camera store. For things like memory card, I shop around online for the best deal. My local store is a rip-off on this. That's one of the things kind of we went through at the Grace of Westminster is, we kind of went through our accessories and things like this back in the day. And yeah, we kind of made sure that our memory card prices are competitive, so at least with other camera stores. And if you look at camera stores like Wax and Park and things like this on specific brands, we don't stock SanDisk, so we don't compete with those, but stuff like Delkin and things like this, the prices are what they are. So yes, I think the days of, let's say, camera stores overpricing accessories like in a car dealership style, I think they're long gone, but maybe not. That's the thing, maybe not. I don't know, but let's say here at Grace, yeah, we were looking at those things as well, just to make sure that the prices are competitive and reasonable. At the same time, batteries, memory cards, filters. Rigetti says, so for me, it's eBay, B&H, MPB, Roberts Camera, some private sales, Camera West, Tamarkin Camera, K&H, as they're a few miles away. I like the ones that have warranty on used equipment. Warranty is useful, especially if you're buying film or digital as well. So that's the thing. You want to make sure that you're not going to be out of the pocket, let's say, within, next month or so. So having a long warranty is always definitely useful. Simon says, in my lottery winning fantasy, I drive my new car to buy all my new mirrorless cameras and lenses from Grace. I should buy a lottery ticket, really. Well, after this live stream, pop down to your local grocery. It's time. Who knows? And maybe if I call it and you buy it and you're successful, I want 10%. Robert M says, I drive to New Hampshire where they don't have the sales tax. So sales tax is a thing. Hello, Ian J. Okay. I think I've just... Here we go. My chat refreshed and I've lost the track who I was reading before. So I need to catch up. Okay. Ron Durance Photography says, a question, is that a good question? Gray market, are they manufactured in the same factory and quality as USA branded? Well, it depends on what it is, but I assume if it's a Nikon imported from another country, it would be manufactured in the same factory. The problem is, as we discussed before, is the warranties. That's the thing. Is it ethical thing? Again, to buy gray imported goods, again, it's another kind of worms to open up. But technically, if it's not a counterfeit, if it's just a product that is being imported from another country where it's cheaper, technically you should be buying the same product, But as we discussed before, companies have a interesting view on what they want to warranty on the items, both in this country or in other countries. So that's the thing. As we always said, when, let's say, people say, why should I buy from you or from Hong Kong? That was a thing about 5 years, maybe 7 years ago. It's no longer the case. But the answer is very simple. If you buy your D850 from Hong Kong and you save, let's say, £300-400, and it works, and it stays with you for 5 years, then you save the money. It's fantastic. But if you buy your D850 and then something goes wrong from, let's say, day one you got it, or to let's say a year later, or something like this, how do you gonna, what's gonna happen? How's your warranty effects, let's say 6 months in? Will you need to ship it to Hong Kong? And can you trust that company? Is it reputable enough that you can trust their warranties on their website and things like this? And that's the question that everyone needs to answer themselves, because at the end of the day, it's the person is choosing to vote with their wallet and use their own money. So in terms of it, it's their own decision. It's not up to a dealer to tell you that we are better than them. All we can say is that our equipment comes from Nikon, is warranted from Nikon. It's a legit UK stock. It's not being imported anywhere else. So, again, a very interesting question, Ron. It's a bit of a gray area from a lot of angles, from ethical point of view of a consumer to ethical point of view of a brand doing warranty, regional warranties, etc. So definitely a kind of a multi-angled question that we can, I think requires its own discussion on its own live stream for sure. Oak Street store isn't up too much. Okay, let's go and see if I've missed anyone. Dave says, used to have a big set of Jacobs and Jessops opposite each other in Oak Street. Yeah, near Tottenham Court, Tottenham Court Road Station. I used to go there. I used to talk to the manager, Donald, there. So, good guy. Yeah, Jacobs, they've been good. It's a shame that they closed. Rick Gage says, I would love to go to Japan and spend a few days in other camera shops in there. Definitely quite a treasure trove to go through and buy things. Back in the day, I think like about 15 years ago, we used to buy quite a lot of secondhand equipment in Japan. And back in the day, you had to know people because they wouldn't just sell it to anyone. That was back in the day. Now in the days of open internet and things like this, it's a lot easier. Yeah, compared to what it was 15 years ago, I think it's much easier to buy equipment now in Japan, for sure. And there's a lot of it there, which is good. Let's go through your comments, see what other comments here. Mark Glenday says, I get all my secondhand Nikon gear from Ted's here in Australia, as I get 12 months warranty. 12 months it's a very good warranty on secondhand. I agree with you. Council tax as a shop killer, says Paul P. Yeah, it's business rates, I think it's called. Yeah, it's crazy. It's, again, coming from my own experience, anything rateable value under £12,000 a year, so £1,000 a month effectively, the rateable value, you don't pay business tax, business rates. As soon as you go over 12, suddenly your rent, because of this tax, business rates, increases dramatically. And I understand why not many businesses can afford this, especially small businesses, so that's the thing. So I agree with you. I think this has to be re-looked at for sure. Because if those shops stay empty effectively, just sitting there as an empty space, is it good for anyone? I don't know. Dave is answering my question about when 8514 is going to be released. He says, well, no idea, Con. Hopefully before long. Lenses releases have been disappointingly quiet this year, not just Nikon. I think they've all been quiet, isn't it? I think we are kind of, we soon will start to reach the refresh of Z9 and things like this. So I think everyone is sitting on that. But the good news on the bright side, so yeah, we think 8514 is going to come in, yeah, so that's good news. Tamara released 18-300 DX lens, again, something that Nikon hasn't released. So I personally think that this is actually a good release, again, not for you advanced photographers, but for a lot of consumers and travelers and young people. I think it will sell really well. The 16-30 Tamron just came out, 2.8. Becky, while I was away, filmed a review. So that's in the works. So that's, hopefully we can share that review with you. But yeah, she did film it while I was away. So I want to hear her opinion about that. I haven't seen it yet myself. So that's the thing. But I just received it from her now. So we're going to send it back to Tamron. But after the live stream, I'm going to quickly put it on the camera as well and just do a little test drive, see what my thoughts on this. David has recommendations for San Francisco. He says glass key. I'm going there today to pick up my 50mm D lens, I guess 1.4, 1.8D, and he says they serviced it. Interesting. Actually, speaking of 50mm, so had a chat with our repairman on manual focus lenses. And we talked about some 50 lenses. He said that 51.8 Series E Mark II lens apparently is considered to be a reference lens by Nikon. So that's how good optically it is. 50mm 1.8 Series E lens Mark II version. So this is something, you know, for you collectors, you know, to consider. Never heard that before. So that was an interesting. And this shop, he worked for Nikon Greece for his own life, and he's servicing basically during the film time, and yeah, he serves in a lot of film gear for us. Terence Allen says, my local shop, TNB Photographic in Romford, closed down some years ago, along with Jessop's. Not many shops left now in the local towns. Pete Gazzola says, I bought locally from Action Camera here in Rocklin, California, as well as B&H online. Russell says Houston has Houston Camera Exchange and Precision Camera, which is originally comes from Austin. Both are great. Colin Brahma says, I use Grays when I'm in the UK and Photo Warehouse Dunedin and Wellington when in New Zealand. Fantastic. If you're in New Zealand, this is a good recommendation. It's the first one we have for New Zealand. John Hughes, never use Amazon and eBay. Paul says, joking aside, new things I get from Grays. I'll sometimes buy something secondhand on the spur of the moment from the likes of London Camera Exchange. I only use Amazon for something low value. Interesting take. Definitely, I buy some like Chinese stuff on Amazon sometimes. What did I buy? What did I buy recently? I bought some Promise, the Chinese one. Promise recently for one of the projects I had, Promise filter. So because I was too cheap to buy a Tiffin, you know, not paying £80 for that. So I bought one for 15 quid. It did the job. It's not amazing, but you know, could go to AliExpress and buy it directly from the source, as we say, but takes a little bit longer. Robin Hebron says, there are two camera shops equidistant from me, but sadly both are 2.5 hours away, Wax in Aberdeen and Ford's in Bewley, with new release Nikon cameras and lenses tend to be from Grace. Thank you, Robin. Well, thank you very much for not only being our customer, but also helping us with this whole streaming setup, and especially on the audio side of things. So thank you very much, Robin. We remember that, we appreciate it. Thank you. Jay says Target used to sell Nikon DSLRs, but I don't know if they are a Nikon retailer these days. Best Buy is a huge Nikon brick and mortar retailer in the USA. I have not seen Nikon cameras in Walmart. You know, we used to have Best Buy in the UK for about a couple of years, and it was gone, never worked out. Bought my first 5.1 theater from Best Buy. It was a good deal in the UK, but they're gone now. David Moscora says, Con, it's amazing how many people bring in camera gear to local shops and they have no clue what they have. That's how I got my Nikon SP perfect condition. Yeah, that's true. I mean, we've seen some equipment coming in through the doors, and yes, definitely, it's one of those things that people just open their attic and find all this equipment. Sometimes real estate sale and things like this. So but I agree with you. But it's much harder and much harder nowadays to find a really true bargain. Like you see those, Contax T2 saying, oh, it was $5 at thrift store or something like this, So I think those things are much harder. But, like I know that like Steve, my colleague, he goes to flea markets every now and then. And sometimes he picks up really well-priced bits of equipment, like lenses and cameras, So yeah, you can still find bargains, especially, like in the film side of things. But I guess digital as well, if you're not going for the latest stuff. So Joseph said the Best Buy sells Nikon in the USA. So we've established that. I guess how much, I wonder how much Nikon actually sells from those brick and mortars. That's a question, so compared to specialized photographic dealers. And obviously, in the UK, Nikon has different rates of the dealers, so not every single dealer is allowed to sell Z9, if you see what I mean. So you have to be a very specialized dealer to sell pro gear, but you can be a regular dealer, which will allow you to sell, let's say, cameras up to like Z5, Z6, and things like this. So I assume Best Buy is very similar to that, where they're not going to sell, let's say, Z8s and Z9s, but they will sell everything else. J Blue says, I buy from Paul's Photo in South California, Pro Camp from Detroit, Service Photo in Baltimore, and occasionally from B&H, refurbished gear from Nikon USA, used gear from K&H. Okay, Ian J says, I got my D800 from Ted's Camera Store at Chadston and my ZF from DG Direct in Melbourne, Australia. Thanks for recommendations. Terence says, I look back at old AP magazines from the 70s. There were many advertising pages from retailers selling kit and accessories. Now there are a few pages. Yeah, I agree with you. Even when I studied photography in the UK, so we're looking in the early 2000s, right? So I used to buy AP once a month, not every week, couldn't afford it, student, so always once a month AP and British Journal of Photography. That was my reading, and all I remember is looking at, like Gray's ads and, all other like secondhand equipment lists. Like literally, I think half of the AP was the classifieds effectively, so the ads from the dealers and things like this. I don't know what it is now, to be honest with you. Actually, Gray receives AP. Let me just see if I can grab one here. Here we go. So let's see. This is AP from 25th of March. Okay, very fresh. And yeah, there's not many really. If you look at the back page, it's not much actually. It used to be like at least 10, 15 pages. But it's not bad, actually. It's not bad. It's not bad. That's good 7-8 pages of just advertisements, from camera dealers and things like this. So, it's still a thing. It's still a thing. But I think it was definitely, I agree to be serious, it was definitely a much larger section back in the day. Robin says the Jessup stores always had strange array of stock, which was frustrating as they didn't seem to cater for a particular type of photographer. Simon Meyer says, before I buy from any outlet, research, which includes your video reviews. Never buy full price, always on sale or discounted. Thank you, Simon, for your opinion. We appreciate it. David says, my local Mike's camera has 4 stores. My local store can look up what other stores have and have it sent to my local store. That's useful. Randall buys from B&H in US. He says free shipping on sale stocks. The problem is that the camera is available if the camera is available at the time of the purchase. Thank you, Randall. Okay, so it's already been an hour. Okay, let me just quickly see if I'll just quickly scroll down the comments, see if I caught up with everyone. Ron says, I buy and always have bought my new and used gear from Gray's when I worked in London. I used to collect from shop, which was just down the road. Thank you, Ron. We appreciate it. OMK says, I tend to buy from B&H and MPB, though I love popping into Mike's and Victory. Simon says, I have Wax 5 minutes from me in Leeds, but they don't generally carry things I'm looking for. Thank you very much, Kirill. He says, welcome back. Thank you, Kirill. I appreciate it. Let's see, and it's refreshed again. All right, I think we had a good conversation, guys. I appreciate, first of all, for you joining me today. Second of all, black and white submissions. So we're gonna have black and white photography challenge at the end of the month. So please send your submissions to me when you can. Black and white film, black and white digital, whatever. Send them my way to media@greatresourcemins.co.uk. I've seen a couple of emails that from some of you that I haven't replied yet from at least 3, 4, 5 days ago. So I will reply them. Don't worry. So I've seen them. I just literally been back in the shop, and I'm still catching up with a lot of things. But I will reply to you. Thank you very much. And for next week, I might have Steve, who is our tech advisor, join us. He is very knowledgeable. So if you have any technical questions, definitely prepare them for Steve. We're going to talk all the digital, all the current and what we think is going to come in next from Nikon. So I think kind of it is the time where it's August. We're going to be kind of going into pre-announcement phase of the things with a run up towards Christmas. So definitely something that if you are available around that time, definitely come and join us. One thing is, thank you, Randall. Sorry, I've missed it, but says used a great but refurbished at fixed low price and rechecked and inspected from any other problems. Cheers. So that's a call for refurbs over the secondhand gear, which is also interesting take. But thank you everyone for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. It's good to see you all after 2 weeks absence. It's always good to catch up. And as always, there's no show without your input here. And I think that conversation that we have, I hope you find it valuable as I personally do. Thank you very much. All the best. Bye-bye.